Ain't nobody smooth like me. I don't flash C notes, that's too high key. Keep it all down low, that's who I be. Levitating on the stage when I move my feet.
This week's episode is brought to you by Wedgwood Cove. If you're looking to play golf, get something to eat, grab something from the pro shop, and enjoy South Central Minnesota's finest landscape, check out Wedgwood Cove. Say hi to Donnie and say Mikey and Peej sent you. And with that, make sure you check out wedgwoodcove.com, and here comes the next episode of Public Course Golf.
I'm moonwalking, she got hoops with the ice, and that's a bad chick. The matching jacket with it, you want 10. Yeah, so smooth when you walk in, slow-mo.
Attention everyone! Teeing off at hole number 1, we have the phenomenal, the beautiful, shall I say, the tall, 6'7", 8. He says 6'7" right? I don't know. What do you think?
Potato.
Yeah, we'll go 6'8". Mikey Peej and his friend Paul Johnson.
Yes! Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Public Course Golf Podcast. This is a big day for us. We are officially double digits. We are in double-digit episodes of the Public Course Golf Podcast. So welcome back so much. Thank you for tuning in. Catch you guys next week.
Yeah, this is number 10. It's the shortest one.
See you later.
Yep.
So thank you so much to everybody who's watched so far. Maybe this is your first episode tuning in. My name is Mikey. This is Peej. We are the hosts of the Public Course Golf Podcast. What we really like to talk about is kind of all things golf, all things sports, but also just the importance of people being able to go play golf. The public course, or the public golf course, you know, and the importance that is to, I feel like, society. I feel like it's a big thing.
Well, when you talk about, you know, we kind of spill into other aspects too, because with public course golf, you're talking about what everybody does on a daily basis. So
Right.
you can talk about being a dad, you can talk about other Minnesota sports, you can delve into a lot of different things. Those that have watched our podcast before, we don't just talk strictly about golf, but, you know, because really, we want this to be relatable to people our age, and even different ages too. But
Another thing you guys might notice is our set is a little bit different. Obviously, the backdrop's the same, but you notice we're switching it up, and I feel like we're finally kind of getting it honed in. We started with the kind of the couch casual setup. So the last handful, we'll say, have been at Wedgwood, and we had a table at our disposal for the, you know, we added the computer, and
it's nicer to feel it. Yeah, it's nicer. We don't have to. Yeah, it just feels like we're more professional, kind of. You know, when you were saying it's the same backdrop, although you might notice that this guy here looks a little bit different than the last time.
A lot different.
A lot different. So it is the same person. When you said Peej, it is me, but I lost about 9 inches of hair. But I still have this cool. It's still pretty long on top. If I pull it down, it goes past my nose. But it's a new cut.
I like it.
And trying to I did get a new haircut. Proud of it. My wife said that I asked her point blank, long hair or like a different cut. She said she loves me no matter what, but she did mention she liked maybe changing it up. I also agree. It had been 3 years, the pandemic, you know, in 2020, 2021, 2022, and now in 2023, I finally decided to cut it. I've been doing trims along the way, but now a new look, and I'm hoping that also translates on the golf course. So
I think tomorrow's a big day.
It translated for my baseball team. We won.
See? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so
I personally, I really like it. I like the...
Yeah, it's got you can do things. You can bring it down like this. You can bring it back up. I mean, I don't want this to be a modeling session for me, but and I'm married, ladies out there, so it's kind of I'm not wearing a hat to show off new hair. So
right, I like it.
Might as well.
I'm not gonna do that because my hair is the same.
Well,
it looks like.
Well, you've been wearing a hat all day.
So I'm gonna keep mine on.
Yeah, hey, might as well. When you see this episode, you'll see, you know, we talked, well, you probably had experienced the wildfires that, the smell of smoke that was so prevalent. So yesterday, you know, I actually had a baseball game, and we were kind of, you could see the haze, and there was an air quality alert, and it smelled like smoke. I mean, there was wildfires in Colorado when I went out and visited there, but this was worse. I felt like up north's even worse. They have an air quality thing going farther than we are. But because it got so cold overnight, that's why it kind of diminished the smell. It's like today is night and day difference.
Yeah. You can't smell anything. Yeah, and everything looks really clear.
only thing I smell is sometimes when you fart over here.
Drop bombs.
Yeah, well, but that's part of public course golf and part of being a guy.
You got to be able to drop bombs out of the golf
Drop
course.
bombs, and we're not talking about bombs with the ball. We're talking about finding the nearest porta potty. Yeah.
Motion at my front door. Who's at my front door?
There's a chipmunk.
We're filming. I almost had a bird land on my head the other night.
Would you get a notice on your front door app thing if a chipmunk like came to the door and just looked around?
If they're far enough back to where I can see them move around, it'll go off.
Crazy. Do you think would they ever like? Did you say, "Hey, Alvin, go back to your"? Yeah.
I was just gonna say, if Alvin was there, I probably would.
You might let him in.
Yeah, I'd let him in.
Yeah,
we'd jam a little bit.
He'd probably be a great guest in the podcast.
Ooh, get Alvin on here.
Yeah, and
have him
then,
sit right here.
Yes.
You could see him still. He'd be like this big.
Yeah, he could sponsor the drink for the 19th hole.
Ooh, speaking of 19th hole, we'll
get to there in a second, but in 30 minutes actually. But
in about we got golf, so about 18 minutes we'll get to the 19th hole. But so we are going to jump straight in. As you guys know, we like to do golf slang terms. We like to do our favorite slang terms. We've had some submitted. We find some. We've even made a couple up. We have one on the list today that we made up. And so we're going to jump right back in. We've been kind of honing in on our top 5. And we don't have any submitted this week. So
it means you've been watching and thinking for a while. Like they say, as a teacher, everybody, some kids like to raise their hand right away. Some kids are thinkers.
They're thinkers.
So we're going to expect that. When you think about culture, a culture has language, and there's a golf culture. So this language is just so fascinating.
It is.
It really is.
Big time. So hopefully in the next couple weeks we get blasted with submissions for some slang terms. But we have our top 5. So with that, let's jump into this week's segment of Slang Terms. All right, number 1, we're going to kick it straight off with one that we made up. This is we're going to kick the list off, and number 1 is dog training. PJ, tell the people about dog training.
Well, I just, after studying these slang terms, you start to realize what you say on the course just naturally. And we've all said, run, 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 or sit, sit, sit. Or, stay, settle, settle. Good boy, I mean, it's almost like we're trying to train our ball to be a dog, and it's not possible.
Nope.
And really,
It'd be nice if it was.
You're telling your ball to do something that you have no control over. Really, I mean, the pros might do that, but they already know it when they hit it. That's going to do that.
Like they know it's going to check.
They don't have to say. They don't have to say that.
Right.
Like you don't see somebody on the golf course. Well, you never hear the pros say, "Settle, sit, stay." But you hear us say it.
You hear that public course golfer say it.
So that's kind of funny when you think about something like that. You and then when it stops, do you think then it's because you've said that you somehow commanded it to happen?
I think in the moment you definitely make that. I bet you kind of feel, you know what, I had something to do with that. When you don't though, the worst is when all of a sudden you do that, you hit one. We'll say you're 150 out. You hit one way far. You're hoping it's going to land on. You can check it up. You can talk about it. But what happens if all of a sudden you hit one and it goes over the green? It goes substantially farther than you want it to go. That brings us to number 2, and that's airmailed. PJ, tell them about an airmail.
That's when you tell you're telling the golf ball to stay, and it's going farther. Like you're saying, the dog disobeys you. When that dog's gonna run,
the dog's gonna hunt.
That dog's gonna hunt. But now the dog hunted too far away.
He went too far.
Yeah,
he missed his mark.
Yeah.
He ran past the duck, and he's out into the next field.
Yes, and so the airmail, basically, you really overshot what you're looking for, and it probably comes down to either you picked the wrong club, or you just bladed it more, like you lifted it off. And you didn't really get under the club, so like you really kind of topped it, which made it run more. It's usually something mechanical, not so much the club, but sometimes you surprise yourself when you're hitting your clubs pretty well. It's like, oh, I guess I can hit my 7-iron this far.
Yeah.
And you didn't realize it before. And that's where you're like, oh, if I hit a perfect shot, I airmail this amount of yardage. But it takes a long time to know that information.
Right, yeah, to really know that. What a lot of times I feel like we end up doing as kind of public course, regular, everyday golfers is you hit one of those airmails, you hit one of those bombs we'll say we're on a par 3, and you're going to use your 7, You don't realize you can hit it that far. You think you hit it a little less. So you hit your 7-iron, but you sky it, you airmail it past the green. What typically do you end up doing as a regular everyday golfer? Brings us to number 3, and that's reload. PJ, tell them about a reload.
Reload typically happens instantaneous with your shot. You're like, yep, that's bad. You take a club out or a ball out, you put it right on your tee again, or if in a par 3, you put it right in the tee box right there.
Yep.
You just put it down, unless you tee it up a little small. Some people do that too.
Little stub tee.
Yeah.
I never did. For my entire life, I never hit a par 3 off a tee. Never would. I'd always just try and go straight off the tee box. Up until this year. I've played golf 3 times this year. All 3 times on par 3s, I have used even just a broken chunk of the tee. Mm-hmm. And this is the by far, and again, it's a small sample size. We're only 3 rounds in. But all 3 times, it's the best I have played par 3s probably my entire life.
Interesting.
I don't get it.
But did you learn, when you were talking about that, some of that stuff I didn't know until I watched other people play.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you could use the little broken off part of a tee as your little tee for a par 3. Like you look around for a
stubby
a stub. Yeah, you could just get it in the ground a little bit and put the ball on it.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Those are kind of like the unwritten or tools of the trade, we can call it. Where like, you got your clubs, you got your balls, you got your tees, you got the equipment.
Yeah.
But some of that stuff, it's like, okay, on a par 3, what do you do? And I've seen it both ways, where you hit it off the tee box plane, or you find a spot that's kind of a little more like
a little more plush
with grass. It's kind of more green and feels like it's substance there.
Yeah.
Because you don't really want to put your ball in a spot where there's a big divot.
No.
But and then also sometimes those tee boxes can be really hard, almost like concrete. So it is. I'm the same way. I think I do better with a little bit of a raise, because it takes that. When you hit off a 3, if you're using an iron especially, you want to get that divot. But then you think about hitting the ground. And then when you think about hitting the ground, you got to get underneath it. And then usually when you're swinging harder, you tend to not get down far enough. And so if it's on that little bit of a tee, then when you lift it up, you're still going to hit the ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I really I now will do that. There was times though when I wouldn't do that and I would just play off the ground. And especially on a par 3, I feel like you have an errant tee shot, you airmail one something, then all of a sudden you get a double bogey on that hole.
Well, hey, but before you say anything about that, when you need to reload, which we've done many times, sometimes it's a reload times 2, because the cart gal comes around, or it's the turn, and it's like time to reload on
some new
little drinky drink. Yep, we can't say that yet. 18th hole. Don't even get... It's foreshadowing.
Ooh, a little teaser.
Yeah, little teaser. That's
little tease.
That could be a new golf slang term. I don't know. We'll figure it out, what a teaser is.
Yeah, baby.
But, so reloading can be both. One question for you, Mike. Did you learn from others about how to get the little nub of a tee? Or how did you learn? Because I'm interested in knowing that, because that's not something that is regularly talked about.
Right.
Like when I take my son, Will... I mean, granted, he's young enough where he uses his driver, because that's the one time he can probably drive the green.
Yeah.
But at what point do you teach or learn that you take a little part of the tee and put it down?
I'm sure I learned it from either like my dad or my grandpa or something. It was one of those. It wasn't often though, because like I said, or if I did learn it, maybe at a young age, because I've golfed for a long time. But I think even if I had learned it at that, like it didn't stay with me, because like I said, up until this year, I would hit it off the ground. I felt like I had maybe had a little bit more of a pure shot off, or I thought I was going to get maybe too far underneath. So if it's teed up even a little bit, I'm going to elephant's ass it.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, another slang term.
Yeah, there we go.
That was right at the same time.
Good.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yes. Yeah.
I think I noticed it from other people. Whether it was like I played with AJ and Mitch, another buddy. I played with Andy down in Florida. Watching those guys do it, probably subconsciously, all of a sudden I'm like, well, I might as well give it a try again. And yeah, I mean, this is the best I've played par 3s. And now I said that, I probably jinxed myself, and I'm gonna have just the worst time.
No, I think you're just you're prophesying about how good you're gonna be. I think that's what it is. And it's also useful because you're making use of those little nubs of tees that really end up people who don't clean up after themselves.
Yeah, you're kind of doing a service to everybody else.
Kind of like what you do with your magnet fishing. You're cleaning up the environment. You do that with the par threes. You're cleaning up the environment.
Right, cleaning up tee boxes, man. One tee box at a time.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yes.
So, but if you don't use one of those tees though, and you do what I was doing before, and all of a sudden you hit one in the water, so all of a sudden you already lost a stroke, and you go up, you lip one out, you might end up getting a buzzard. PJ, tell the people about number 4, which is Buzzard.
A buzzard is another name for a double bogey, which, I'm not sure if that's more attractive to say, if you go to, hey, how'd you play? Well, on hole 3, I got a double bogey. Or if you say, I got a buzzard on hole 3. Yeah, buzzard, you go to your friend and say, oh, yeah, I birdied hole 1, which that's never happened to me, but let's say I did.
Buzzard hole.
I buzzarded? Or buzzard? Buzzarded?
I buzzarded. Maybe buzzard.
I buzzarded? Yeah, I guess, but pretty soon,
buzzard.
Someone's going to hit the buzzard and I'm going to be off the show here.
Kicked off as we new hosts. Both of us are going to be gone.
But that isn't, it's kind of, it makes sense. You said double Z, it's like double bogey.
Right.
I guess it's kind of fun to say stuff that's different. Even when I learned from you, I used this actually with the bus driver the other day, who was kind of an older guy. We were on our baseball game. We were going to another town, and you said hang a Lucy or you change the L for, what do you say sometimes?
Yeah, hang a Lucy.
What about R?
Hang a Randy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I learned that, and that's more fun than saying right or left.
Right.
It is.
Lucy instead of a left, Randy instead of a right.
So I might as well say buzzard instead of double bogey. I think that's more fun. Plus, it's less. If you've had something to drink, double bogey.
I've had a double bogey. I've had a buzzard. I like that.
You can understand it better.
See, it is one of those weird ones. Sometimes it's kind of fun. And another fun one is frog hair. PJ, tell the people about number 5, which is frog hair.
Well, it's that nicely kept part of the outside of the green. That nicely kept, trimmed.
AKA the fringe.
The fringe. It's the fringe of the green. That's it's well kept. It's groomed. I'd say it's ready for bikini season. One of those type. That's kind of what frog hair reminds me of. Kind of that bikini season, fresh cut.
Yeah, the frog hair. You got a little frog hair cut.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, kind of like what I got.
You got a little frog hair right there. Right here is like a little.
Yeah,
like a perfect.
Right there. Oh, that feels good.
Ooh, a little frog hair.
Yeah, it was well kept. It could be bikini season. It could be shower cap season. You can't even, whatever. I don't know, but the frog hair. But whoever came up with frog hair? It's pretty funny.
I wonder if
we got to use that.
Same people that do buzzard. I don't know that I've ever heard, especially somebody our age or here, talk about I got a buzzard. You're on the green. No, I'm on the frog hair. So that's this week's episode of Slang Terms. Before we carry on, to continue from last week into the NFL draft, we want to hear from today's video sponsor, which is Wedgwood Cove.
Oh, if you're looking to play golf, get something to eat, grab something from the pro shop, and enjoy South Central Minnesota's finest landscape, check out Wedgwood Cove. Say hi to Donnie and say Mikey and Peej sent you. And now back to the podcast.
So if you guys watched last week's episode, we talked kind of about really just Jordan Addison, the first round pick for the Vikes. We didn't go too much further into the draft.
And you so graciously, introduced me as this Vikings guru, and I want to live up to the level, but I appreciate that because I've never live and breathe it.
I've literally talked to so many other people about you and your sport, especially Vikings knowledge. Where, I don't know, it's fun as even just a friend, but just to hear how your mind works with the Vikings, because I feel like it's unlike so many people in a good way.
Well, we've gotten to share a lot of times. This is kind of a side subject matter from what we're going to talk about here with the draft, but Mikey and I have been friends for a long time, and we've been going to the Vikings-Packers game for I don't know how many years.
It's got to be. Well, I remember it was back to college because when it was you, me, your dad, and your dad's buddy. Mm-hmm. You guys picked me up at my 51 Deuce house. Yeah. And that was my senior year of college.
So that'd have been
I don't think that was the first year we went.
No, probably not. And if that'd be 2010-ish.
So I graduated, it would have been the fall before, so 9, 10. I bet it's been...
Well, it's 13, 14, 15 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's been really fun. I've been blessed to have some tickets in our family, and we've always gone to that game. And we really, the one year, 2009, when we had Favre, I used to joke that they were Mike's tickets because my dad kind of let me go to the games, I guess. And we went to every single home game. Every single home game that year, we followed them, and that made it even more of a heartache when they lost.
Yeah, I remember sitting at that game. I remember the Niners game.
Oh, that year. Everyone left.
We
had first game with Favre.
Remember there's the one Niners fan behind us.
Yeah.
And he barked so hard the whole time. And then everybody was leaving. But the people that stayed, I feel like, especially where your guys' seats are, you're around a lot of people that are...
that was still the Metrodome.
Yep.
That was still the Metrodome. So there was people around us that had tickets for a long time, and you kind of almost knew each other by name.
Yep.
It was a
the twins that were behind us.
Yeah, it's a rowdy section, but also tactful.
Yeah. And it's all people that truly care about the Vikings, not just going to a football game,
not just to get hammered or like just to. Oh, I'm at a game. I'm at a football game. NFL. No, like dialed in fans.
Yeah. And so you're understanding really what's going on and staying until the end. Like, I don't know,
we've never left.
I don't think we've ever left.
I will never leave.
In any Vikings game we've ever gone to.
We've been to blowouts before.
Because we've been to just Vikings-Packers, but, I mean, together we've been to so many more where blowouts on both sides. Like, I know there's a lot of people that if all of a sudden we're up, it's 34-7, and there's 3 minutes left in the game. There's people that'll be like, well, let's leave to get ahead of traffic.
Doesn't matter. You're still going to be in traffic. Plus, you paid a lot of money to go to that game. I don't know. You're with your buddies. That's another thing, like taking it back to golf. Would you just say, oh, I'm playing bad. Let's just
hang it up. Let's skip the last 5 holes. I'm done.
You would never do that.
Or, I'm playing so good right now. I'm 2 under. I'm going to take that. I'm going to wrap it up.
We're at the turn. I'm going to be in the clubhouse, guys. You guys have fun.
You guys finish up. You guys finish playing, but I'm going to sit in here. When you guys learn how to play, you can come join me.
So stupid. So anyways, we've had a good conversation about Vikings over the years, and Mikey's very knowledgeable too, and I appreciate that because it's something that I'm very passionate about. It's been in my family for a lot of years, and so this draft was a good draft, I think. We talked about Jordan Addison last week, and I think he's we were talking about how we had no second round pick, even though it was TJ Hawkinson, which that's great. But no second round picks. We had to hit on our first pick. You can't sell hope. You got to have somebody that probably is going to come in and produce right away.
Be an impact player from day one. And I think he's going to slide directly into wide receiver 2.
Yep.
And I think that you're going to hear probably especially through minicamp and in training camp, you're going to hear that it's probably a battle between Osborne and Addison for 2 and 3.
And as it should be, because Osborne's done a good job of proving himself over the years. And I think that's a good thing if they're almost the same level. Because that would mean that for Jordan Addison, it would mean that he's NFL ready, because KJ's NFL ready. Yeah. And it also means that KJ's taking a step forward to be more explosive, which is what Jordan is. So if there's a battle there, that's what we want.
Sidebar from the draft. I was just reading, and I wanted your opinion on. They were talking about his extension. He'll be you're going to pretty much give him the most lucrative contract in NFL history.
Correct.
You're going to kind of back the truck up. You give him a blank check. You just say, what is it? What number is it going to take? But they were talking about, typically, if you go with kind of the Vikings' past history, extensions get signed and new deals get signed during training camp. That typically is the timeline.
Yeah.
So they're talking about maybe during that time is when we'll hear about a Jefferson extension.
Sure.
They're also talking about Jefferson committing to staying in purple long term, and that if he doesn't get an extension in that time period, is that going to kind of piss him off and then make him not want to be in purple?
I don't think he's cut from the same cloth as Stephon Diggs. I think that Kwesi and KOC have their stuff together. I don't think they realize that this is a diamond in the rough, that he's breaking records, shattering stuff. I really think they're going to go down the route for him. He's going to be treated right. I really don't think there's anything to worry about there. And when you hear Paul Allen talk on KFan and stuff, I really think that you realize it's a once in a lifetime player you have here.
Yeah.
We had Randy Moss growing up and Chris Carter combination. Jake Reed was in there too. And this kind of reminds me, we don't want to speak too soon, knock on wood, but could it be the next 3 big
the three-headed horseman, or whatever they called it.
Yeah, because you would have the three deep, they called them, right? But I have the poster still.
Yep.
Moss, Carter, and Reed. Is it going to be Jefferson, Addison, and Osborne? I don't know.
I'd like that. And then you just on the cherry on top is Hawkinson still.
Receiving tight end. We've had Rudolph was good, but he caught the ball kind of stumbling like Chris Berman, mumbling, stumbling, rumbling, bumbling, stumbling down the field. But with Rudolph, you just cut him by the ankles and he would fall down.
Done.
And he's a nice guy. But
I love Rudy's one of my all-time favorite Vikings players. I still have my jersey. And it's 5 models back, and I'll still wear that to game.
That's a game you could. That's a jersey you could wear to a game. People still respect it.
Yeah.
He just didn't do enough, I think, to be in Ring of Honor.
No.
But he's a beloved tight end. Yeah. But I think Hawkinson is another weapon, and Herb Smith kind of fizzled out. So that's good. That's good. You look past the rounds later. The Mekhi Blackman. I kind of touched on that last episode, but. He's a solid. He produced in college, so we were talking about how Kwesi looks at you can have these measurables. Mm-hmm. I think I referred to it as athletic ability, and I shouldn't have. I look back, I'm like, measurables. If you have these measurables, that's great, but so what? Did you produce when you were on the field?
Yeah.
Because there's certain people that are gifted with things, but they don't know how to put it into action.
There's a lot of players that I feel like, and then we kind of talked about that just briefly. Is how many people do you know that put up these insane numbers, whether it's a 40, it's a vertical, it's arm strength, it's accuracy throwing as a quarterback, and then you look at them in the NFL and they're absolute trash.
Yeah.
I.e. Christian Ponder.
Troy Williamson.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you look at Ponder at Florida State.
Very smart.
He held a shocking number of Florida State records.
Yep.
For a long time, if not still holding some of them. Mm-hmm. Yet he was horrid in the NFL.
Yep. And there's some guys that Wonderlic test they do score terrible, and then they're awesome in the NFL. So you can't really. That's where I think Kwesi says, "Did you produce in college? If you did, that probably means it's going to translate." So Mekhi Blackman's one of those players. The safety Jay Ward out of LSU in round 4. Taller safety. We got in some ways another draft pick we have this year is Lewis Seen. So he didn't play it all last year. He was in Georgia. He was the defensive. He was the defensive player of the game for the
national championship. Yeah.
So and they say he's coming back stronger than he ever has.
I heard that there's a bunch of players, including Harrison Smith, that just saw him work out and they forgot that he literally shattered his leg.
It's like he might be. So we're getting some pick. That's one of the things that we forget about, like Andrew Booth, for instance, or Asamoah. Mm-hmm. And then you talk about Lewis Seen. Those guys, Lewis Seen didn't see the field at all, but those guys kind of saw the field. They were, what if in their second year of development, they become the draft picks, like a second round pick of this year? Where you don't even realize, these guys just need some development with a different coach, a new defensive coordinator. So the Jaron Hall pick, so I'm not a big BYU fan to begin with. I just am not.
Yeah.
I think people make a lot about him. I know that KOC, former quarterback, he probably sees something in him. So I trust a coach who's been a quarterback before, who looks at a quarterback and says that's a good quarterback to get in the 5th round. But I think he's going to be a glorified backup. He's good, all around good draft, but I think there's a lot of unknowns. You can say the Vikings last year 13-3. You say a good team. You also say they could also have lost a lot of games with how much they had to come back. Is the offense going to be that great? It probably is. The defense, do we really improve it? I don't know. There's kind of some unknowns. Is Andrew Booth going to take a step forward? Is Lewis Seen going to come in from his injury? Is Asamoah going to do a good job? The new corner we got, Byron Murphy. Is he going to step in? Do we have, we got that Hicks back for linebacker. We lost Zadarius Smith.
Lost Eric Kendricks.
But Zadarius is all excited about where he's going to now. He feels like a kind of a fair weather guy.
If one thing that I feel
we
like
had him for half a season last year, that was good.
One thing doesn't go his way, he seems like he's ready to jump ship. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know he's with Green Bay for a handful of years, but I don't know. I'm fine. I mean, you still have Daniil Hunter, who's probably going to end up with a new contract, I would assume.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at what he makes annually versus some other guys. And granted, it's been so questionable. This last year was the first year he played every game in 5 seasons.
Exactly. And you got to say to yourself, maybe this is what the Vikings are doing. They want to see what Flores can do with some of the guys that they've had that are newer, and see if it's not that the picks didn't work out, but it was that the coach in the personnel package and whole overall philosophy didn't work out.
Yeah.
Then if you implement that with Flores, and if things don't work out, that's when you say, okay, we need to go a different direction with defense, not maybe with the coach, but with the players.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth to say we have personnel that haven't maybe been unlocked, and that's why I've been listening to the radio. You can say the Vikings could go 12-5 next year. Or you could say they go 8-9. You could say either way because you don't. It's kind of that unknown of are these players going to work out?
Right.
But as a Vikings fan, I'm going to say they're going to work out.
I think I think you have to say it's going to work out.
Yep.
You know what's probably not going to work out is me getting a victory in this week's episode of
Tic-Tac-Toe.
Oh, hello. Welcome back, guys. Episodes that we film here in studio, we like to end with a little something we call tic-tac-toe. Just like you would play at home on a piece of paper, we use a golf ball, a putter, and you try to get tic-tac-toe. With that, let's get to this week's episode of Tic-Tac-Toe.
It's too hard, too. Ooh! Getting on the board with his first shot.
On the board. I'm going to go this way this time. That'd be good.
Oh.
I would say that's middle.
Yeah, middle one.
All right.
Need to get you're going to...
Too hard, I think.
Oh!
Oh!
Stop.
Stay left. Ooh, oh, see now it's, do you do offense or defense? Ooh, it's going to be good.
Oh.
Fold. That looks good.
Oh!
Come on, Mike.
Oh.
You idiot.
The sweet taste of victory. Well, that smells.
Well, Peej, another victory. Let's give him a public course golf. Woo! Oh! Wow, little victory toot parade over here. Wow, it's heavy. It's heavy, like it's like smog. Oh, it's like smog in here.
It's like Canada fires up my ass.
He's got wildfires in his ass.
It smells like methane.
Oh, guys, send help. Woo!
But it was a good, I don't beat you on the course, but I can, at least I know.
A win's a win.
No, it's fun to
It's fun to get
tic-tac-toe back at it. We hadn't done one in a while.
No, it's been a handful of weeks. When we're on location, we haven't played. We could very easily bring this putting mat with us.
Yeah. But I think you were using that time weren't you seeing kind of a trainer to help you out? Well,
Yeah, I was working on
you
swing
wasted
speed
a lot of money
and
there. He wasted a lot of money.
Trying to-
Doesn't matter. Although on the course, he's better than me. But on a tic-tac-toe, on a carpet with a fake green, I am the best.
a win is a win. But that's going to bring us into the clubhouse here for the 19th hole. And this week, we are proud to say that it's not sponsored or endorsed by, but we are having one of our favorite things. High noon, this is what we do when we're out on the golf course.
Yep.
Cheers, brother. Another great episode of Public Course Golf. If you dig today's video, hit the thumbs up button. If you're ready for next week's episode, hit the red subscribe button. And with that, we're going to pound our high noons, we're going to cheers, and we're going to have a good night. You guys as well. See you next week. Bye.